Hiya, it's Susie at First Floor Flat again. I've got a humongous one to show you this time. This is A4 size and I've made a 2 signature Waterfall Junk Journal. So it's a completely different shape. Right, so we'll start off at the front. As you can see, I've got a purposefully artificially aged photograph of a very cute little girl here. I've got lace, vintage music, more lace, fine netting, embroidered lace, thicker lace, chiffon silk, fabric flower, pearls, more lace. A nice little quote. This is actually by Leonie Pujol for Clarity Stamps. Today was all red paint and scribbles. Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have a day like that, and where you just feel like going whoopee and throwing all your toys out the pram. So here we have more gathered organza, and I've put in an integral pen. So the holder is actually rigid. You can just see it there. It's a roll of vintage music paper rolled up like you'd make a paper bead, and I've used gel medium inside and outside, so that is solid and will hold your pen nicely. And these are just gorgeous. I just had to. And to make it work, you simply turn the jewel and the pen opens and closes, and then that will just sit back in there beautifully till you need it. Right, on the side, as I said, 2 signatures, and I have cross-stitched them in. This is actually a vintage cord, vintage about 1960s, 1970s. My friend Christine, her aunt died. She was a mad upholsterer, curtain maker, knitter, crocheter, you name it, so I was gifted this, and it's as rare as hen's teeth basically. Well, as you can see here, I've got the sari silk, which runs right underneath the collaged piece on the front, under here, and goes across. So there's a cute little applique to cover it. Then on the back, one of the little Tim Holtz people, and more collage, watercolour paper, a ticket, lace, more lace, a little Tim Holtz person, and a tiny little brass charm saying "Made with Love," which it is, by me to you. And here we are. So let's get that undone. So you've got 2 strands either side for strength, and starting at the front, this is a handmade paper with a lot of silk slabs in it, and on the side here it's an expanding pocket which I've made out of the same silk, out of the same fabric, which you can just about see. So for putting all odds and ends and bits and bobs that you need. A lot of lace, again that lovely embroidered fine net, which I believe is very rare. Plique, more lace, netting, lace, cute little Own Your Dreams saying, I think that's a Tim Holtz one. So here we are, first signature. Now this is an envelope, well, sorry, not an envelope, it's a pocket, and I have punched the edge with a fancy punch by Vassen Creative. Done the same here. This is a scrapbooking paper. This was by Crafter's Companion. Added more lace underneath. Then there's another little Timmy girl there. A life is a grand adventure, believe in yourself, on a giant tag which I've collaged napkin tissue on top of, and I've done a print with a foam stamp and acrylic paint, and then a little piece of more scrapbook paper for you to journal on. So that's number 1. So turning over, that's the back of that paper, which I think is gorgeous. This is one of those layered slip pocket thingies. Again, more lace, a little bit of coffee dyed paper, some vintage tea cards, little mercerized cotton silk, I think it's thread, embroidery thread, I'm not 100% sure on what that is. This is a reproduction postcard, a miniature. but the actual rose is a genuine vintage tea label. Oh, Will cigarettes, cigarette label. Now on this side I've used a piece of vellum, printed vellum. Again, I think this is Crafter's Companion, and I've done a double pocket, so this is layered on top, and what I've done here is cut the vellum, added lace which I've stitched on, so this lace is quite stiff and as you can see it's transparent. Then I've added the other piece here and then I've gilded with wax on that edge. I've added the same lace on this side, just there, a little bit more lace there, and then I've made another tag. So this is actually a little writing pad on this side with several sheets of coffee dyed paper. That's actually appliqued with a bit of napkin tissue. Again, I've punched these edges because I think it's prettier, and on this side one of Tim Holt's wildflowers, and I've added another little photograph. Again, the paper's by Crafter's Companion. I think it's from their French sheet collection. I'm not sure whether that is still current or if it's been discontinued, so don't quote me. Right, here we go. Now this is napkin tissue. Then I've stenciled on with texture paste. As you can see, it's very, very dimensional. I've added lace at the bottom. On this side it's another scrapbook paper. This is Imala in the UK, and I just love these. Now these were all blue, but I've actually gone back in and tinted over with some vintage photo just to bring it back to more of a vintage colour to go with the theme. So as you can see, lace here with a little bit of ribbon over the top, just shows from the back there. And then this is an absolutely giant tag that I've made. Cat's Life press stamp. This is what happiness looks like, and I believe that this is still made. So that there is glued down flat. More of that lovely paper. This is another of the Tim Holtz flowers, the quote stamp again, and this time a little vintage postcard which just goes into there like a tuck spot. Then that just pops inside. Oh, and by the way, I hope you notice that I've lined the edges, and that's with an anagriffin paper. I do like to strengthen the envelope edges because I think if you're going in and out quite a lot, they do take some hammering. Right, and a little bunch of stamens and some more of that lovely sari silk. So here I have a belly band, and in the belly band another little pad of paper, just a little bit of vintage sheet music and some more of the coffee dyed. So that just tucks back in there. And again, a plain paper, well, it's a spotted paper, but I edge punched it, and the same again here. Going on to this, which I stenciled, and this is another tag, and I'm using the same paper, but this time I've fussy cut the corner, and another little vintage postcard tucked inside, or anything else you want to put in there. This I've stamped myself, and I've used several inks. At the back it's a matte black, and on the top it's ice blue brilliance, so as you can see it's transparent and it shows through, and then in between touches of tea dyed, again all stitched around the edge. And on the back it's tea dyed paper, a little bit of a finance ready reckoner, so you could actually use that as a tuck spot as well if you wished. So I'm giving you space to actually add some of your own embellishments as well. So as I said, we've got lace here, and it's tea dyed card, coffee dyed card, and which I've stenciled on. So that pops back in there. Going on to here, vintage sheet music, more vintage sheet music. This is a torn pocket, so I tore the edge off and the other piece has gone onto this side. So here we have two cards. There's a journaling card and another little one there with a top, so that goes in. And I've done a little bit of slow stitching here, just a little running stitch with the same vintage cord that I used to sew the journal together. So on this side again, as you can see, it's the same coffee dyed paper, which I've actually gone on and darkened more. Stamped this. This is actually a La Blanche stamp, a texture stamp, then over stamped again with some script. Then this is another big tag with doily stitched round. That's an actual postage stamp. And this is a very vintage, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Oh dear, it's gone. It'll come back hopefully. They make with the same machines today that they made in the Victorian times. So these are actually new vintage, if you see what I mean, because they're making the same Victorian scraps with the same little bits of glitter on, etc., as they actually made when they started off in 1800 and something. And I will try to remember the name, and if I can, because they are still making these today, I will put the link underneath. But at the moment it has gone, I'm sorry. Senior moment. Another of the same there, as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous, and I've applied this as a tuck spot, so you've got a little vintage tag in there. Again, I've stitched all the way around the edge, and the other side a little bit of doily, and it's coffee dyed paper, where I've used one of those plastic mats and dried it out in the sun so you take the impression. The same stamping on the back. Again, I've done a torn pocket, so there's the matching other bit of it, and that just tucks in there for a different corner pocket. So just for a change, a plain tea dyed paper, and put a little quote on. I'm pretty sure this is again a Leonie Pujol one for clarity stamps, and just like that the world tipped on its axis and everything fell off the table. Well, I don't know if you've had days like that. I know I've had days like that, but it just tickled me. And on the other side, as you can see, I've glued that edge to make the pocket, and in here we have another tag. This is a postcard, and again I've made it into a journaling spot with a lot of stitching around it and a nice tea dyed paper. So that tucks in there, and again I have punched that edge to make it prettier. And then this side, again I've got that lovely stiff blue lace. Again I've fussy cut the corner, mounted it over this. That is a napkin tissue butterfly, which I collaged onto paper and then I fussy cut out afterward. And this is the centre of this first signature, as you can see the stitching. And then this gorgeous postcard, which was from I think it was a 1960s photo exhibition, that pops inside underneath just to give a completely different flash of colour. Right, so the back of that, another little tuck spot pocket and another little journaling card. Two little Timmy girls. This is from a child's writing book. They copy the letters and learn how to do nice handwriting. And on here another Leonie quote: "Some days are all cartwheels and handstands, while others are more PJs and cake." I have to say I love her point of view on these. Right, here we go here. There's a lovely little journal card again, a photo card from that exhibition, but blank enough to journal on the back. Tucks into that pocket. Vintage sheet music, which again, as you can see, I coffee dyed outside using one of those mats. And I've hand stitched here, slow stitched all the way down the edge, sewed on a button, machine stitched an organza ruffle, and then this flips down to show another of the napkin tissue butterflies collaged with the same paper here. So that's almost like a little hidden tuck spot. So if you don't want it, you could apply glue here and then just make it into a pocket. If you do want it, you can hide something. Right, more lace here, and over we go, and onto this side. This is a lovely little piece of a vintage embroidery from a tablecloth, I would say. So that's it. I think that's absolutely adorable. And here, as you can see, I've continued on with the same paper and I've made that a flip. So in addition to it being a flip, it's also a tuck spot, another of Tim's flowers from his nature series. There's a pocket, and inside the pocket I have a receipt tag, so more journaling. And there we are for more journaling. Then I'll just pin this one back carefully. And as you can see, another little paper flip, stitched at the top with lace, so more surfaces for you to journal on. And as you can see here, this is file folder and it's with stitching. Now on this edge, which is the narrow edge, I turned it over to create another tuck spot. So you've got the little strip of vintage music here, belly band here, and then these two bookmarks tuck inside for you to use as a tag. Move it, keep it there, whatever you decide you want to do. So coming onto this side, another edge punched. I certainly did a lot of punching. Right, a little bit of torn tea dyed, coffee dyed paper. I keep saying tea dyed when I mean coffee dyed, and vice versa. And another little tiny tag. There's one thing I do like to do. I like to have tuck spots on tags. I don't know why, I just do. So go to the garden when you need to remember that everything is love. It's just a cute little quote you might want to stick elsewhere, but in any case at the moment I'm tucking it in there, and then that is going into that pocket, and with another rather gorgeous journal card. And then right on the back, this is the last bit of the first signature. Never forget your inner sparkle, let it shine, and shine brightly, and another sweet little Timmy girl. So here we are, signature 2. Again, a little bit of a waterfall. So again, the same edge. Moving over, becoming a pocket. More lace here. Ribbon sewn over the top edge of that. This is an actual genuine envelope, and it's postmarked 1939. So I've glued a tiny little tab across here, and then I've stamped and cut out and coloured that flower, and then that's just tucking in for a little bit of extra prettiness. And inside I've put a little bit of ephemera, so you've got some genuine vintage postage stamps. I think they're all Magyar poster. Oh, that's New Guinea. Magyar poster, New Guinea. And then some little vintage tea-dyed cards to pop inside. So that just makes a nice little collection of surprises for whoever gets the journal. And then that just tucks back in there. Right, so here we go. On this side, big pocket. Again, this gorgeous paper. Here I did a little bit of lace edging again. And then another little paper flip journal. So there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 pages. That's 10 sides to write on, with a little punched edge. Now I've used a standard ordinary get it in any office 2-hole punch, which means if you've used up the paper and you want to refill it, you can. Now on this edge I've actually made that into a pocket, so you can see that's like a double page there. So this pulls out to another booklet, and this one is covered in vellum, both sides. I've pamphlet bound it and tied in a bow on the outside. With pamphlet binding, if you start on the inside, you end on the inside. If you start on the outside, you end on the outside. Easy peasy. And inside you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. So that's another 16 sides for journaling on. So, and again I've lined with that lovely pink Anna Griffin paper. I only had a tiny bit of it, and I thought I'm not wasting a single millimetre, and then that just sits out nicely to tell you there's something in the pocket. Right, so we're going on to here. Now this is more of a collage effect page. What I've done here, again the edge punching, is before I glued it, I actually made a tiny hole here and a tiny hole here. I used a pokey tool first, then I was able to get my very fine scissors in and fussy cut around it. I gave it just a little bit of extra space so that it's not too tight, edged that, and then that little CD envelope fits in there. Again, this is decoupaged napkin tissue. I've stamped and coloured with dye inks around the edge, so you've got a bit of vintage photo, a little bit of worn lipstick there to go with the contents, and here again the Anna Griffin paper. I've made this into a little tuck, that's a stencil, and that opens up to this prints. I think it's from a Cinderella series. This was being done in the UK by the post office. It was a set of pantomime Christmas stamps, and then they had these rather large leaflets advertising them, and this is from that. So it's not the actual stamp, but it's just an image of the advert of it. And then again I've backed it with coffee dyed paper, so that if you want to journal on that you can. So that just pops in there, that tucks underneath, and then that just sits in there. Right, I lied. That was the end of the first signature. I thought the earlier one was, and I mistook my stitching. I thought this was. Right, so now we're into the second signature. Dearie me. Okay then, first off, the time to relax is when you don't have time for it. I'm certainly feeling like I need a cup of tea after this. So again with that lovely, Mamelok, M-A-M-E-L-O-K, Mamelok is where these are from, and still making with the same Victorian equipment from when the company started. Now this is another Crafter's Companion scrapbook paper. It was a Japanese or a Chinese very elaborate one, but I just love that colour as a complete contrast from the first section. So what I've done here is hole punched and created a swivel fastening, so that will open out there. So that folded over to make a pocket in which you have 2 journal cards, and then on this side it's a big envelope which I lined, which is the bit going underneath there, so we've got a nice solid edge there, and another little folded paper journal. So I've got lace on the front there, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's another 8 sides for journaling, and a little bit of collaged doily at the back, so that will just tuck in there. And then that will hold closed. Now how I did that was, before I glued this envelope flat back, on the back I've gone through with a paper fastener, and then I've done another little circle behind it to glue it fast so it doesn't catch, but it also stops it falling out or anybody hurting the fingers or tearing paper. So that just holds that closed rather neatly, I thought. Right, and that's just a fun little tag there. Right, here, this is another pocket. This is a coffee dyed doily here, and that flips over on the back to another scrapbook paper which goes straight across to make another join on the other side. And inside, as I did before, I've lined with more scrapbook paper, and this is a giant tag. Again stitched, another Leonie saying always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. More of those lovely Mamelok butterflies, a little organza bow, stitched all the way around, and on the back, let's sit under a tree, I'll read you the poem, sing to my heart, whilst you tell stories of hope and love. I think that's a Leone quote. Well, whatever, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so in there, oh, and that's another of my stamped cards, again with the matte black at the back, which I think was archival, and I've gone over again, as you can see from the shimmer, with Brilliance ink. I think this was Orchid. That's what I do like about Brilliance ink. It's semi-transparent, translucent, so you can see through to the colour underneath. Right, and then that little bow just sits out there. So here we go. As you can see, more lace on that edge. Flipping over with the lace doily, paper doily, and then here we have more of that lovely translucent vellum, and going on to another piece of napkin tissue where again I've used a very dimensional stencil with texture paste, which makes another pocket. I've stenciled through with Vintage Photo onto off-white, and that's two doilies, one on top of the other. That one's more strongly coffee dyed than this one. Then this is another little tabbed tag. Now here again I've got two little journal cards. I've stenciled that and then collaged that on top. So that would be, I think, worn lipstick, and I think that's vintage paper inks. And I've hinged this so that you can tuck it underneath to hang out the side, whichever side that you would like. A little collage butterfly here, a little bit of coffee dyed paper there, so that can go back in. So that can actually sit like that if you'd prefer it, and then you might even want to put a Velcro tab for any reason. If not, then just tuck it right inside. Right, vintage sheet music, a little paper flip with some decorative papers. That's been stamped, stapled at the top, stitched top and bottom, then another big paper flip, and then that's more coffee dyed paper. So again, you've got journaling space or somewhere to put a photograph, whatever you want. Right, coming back over to this side, I've made that into another pocket. Again, this is vellum, and again with the lace edging, and again I've stitched, and a little bit of collage there. This is a lovely little vintage paper bag. Well, actually I think it's glassine, and somebody's written in pencil Paris. So inside this we've got some more goodies. So there's a little ruffled belly band onto a little piece of card, small diary page, fabric tag, little fabric flip, and a tiny Vogue pattern. So those pop into there, and then that pops into there, and then that hides in the pocket. Now this is a slightly different pocket. As I've said, it's vellum paper, as you can see, which is Crafter's Companion. I adore printed vellum. I'm absolutely addicted to it. And what I've done here is two large pieces of lace, top and bottom. Then I've edge punched with a fancy punch on these flower illustrations, backed them both onto coffee dyed paper so they will sit inside without falling out. And as you can see, this is the middle of this signature, and there you are from the ties. So that flips over, plain coffee dyed here. Then this one flips out, more vintage music, a little bit of stenciling, again with the Vintage Photo. Ditto here. This one is a little over the page decoration that I've made. Again, this is the napkin tissue with the butterfly, which I've used several times so that we've got a common theme running all the way through. So this is an over the page one. That's a little bit of vintage piano music, you know, and they used to put them in rolls in the old pianos. And then, sorry about that, I ran out of battery and I had all the back section missing, so I'm having to reshoot it. Okay, we got as far as here, and I just explained about the piano roll, which you used to get in the old honky-tonk pianos. Right, so continuing on, the reverse side of the page with another tag, lace, etc. Bingo card. Again, that's one of my little tuck spots. Again, coffee dyed paper. That pops back in there. Lace at the top and the bottom. This one is a flip, so that's a little lace motif, sari silk, more lace, that embroidered net organza, a photo of a little girl which then flips over, writing space on the back, and again this is a flip over page, so that will just, oh, and a ball pin. So that just comes to here, again with my hole punch edges, journaling card, photo journaling card, belly band. Right, we're nearly at the end, you'll be happy to know. So here we are. Just move that a little bit better. Right, and here we have another tag, lace pocket this time. One of Tim Holtz's little girls, remember to play. Little bit of sparkly organza there. Again, this is one of my own stamped paste paper finishes, but this time I've glazed it with clear embossing ink and then clear embossing powder, 2 layers, so it makes that lovely shiny hard finish. Right, and into the pocket, a little floral arrangement with paper flowers and more sari silk tied in a bow. Flipping back to this side, another little collage arrangement, more of the sparkly net. I think you can just sort of see it twinkling away there. And on this side, this is a pocket with another little booklet of coffee dyed paper. The wraparound is vellum, and you have ties on the end here, so that I've got bows, as you can see in the middle. That's just simply stitched. It's actually pamphlet stitch, and then I've tied on the outside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes 10 pages, 20 sides, yet more space for you to write on. Right, flipping this one over. This is a bit of one of my little clever flips. So as you can see, I'll just move that out of the way. It goes into 2 parts. So this part flips, so you can either have it this way, in which case I've got the pattern matting exactly here. And there is a little belly band with 2 tabs, bookmarks, whatever you'd want to use them for, tucked inside that. So they can be concealed or not, so you can have it that way even. Or you can flip it over, going this way, which will then bring you to that as a full fold out. Or again, taking the tag out, you can see I've matched the paper precisely there as well. Another tag which matches in, backed with coffee dyed paper, tuck spot with doily, which I've doubled up for strength, and one of Tim Holtz's flowers on the front. So going into the middle a bit, a small pocket with lace and another tag, butterflies, die cuts, a little punched hole thing there as well, so that tucks back in there. So this is giving you a bit of plain space. Again, you might want to put a photograph, or you might even want to put a piece of tea-dyed paper and back it. Then on the opposite side we've got more lace. This is 2 of the little things that come with Tim Holtz's flower kit, and I've used those as a tuck spot to hold this postcard, which is Robert Dalzell by Philip Mercier, 1740. So he just pops in there. Right, 2 rigid paper beads for holding this extremely useful Signo white pen, because they're always useful for journalists for writing on darker card or whatever. Right, so that fits in there. Lace on the edge. You'll be glad to know this is the final page. I'm glad to know it's the final page. Okay, so this is a double pocket, a pocket at the back. Tim Holtz figure, live every day with intention. That pops in there. And then this is like a 2-part one with the Anna Griffin paper at the back, overlaying onto some more of this lovely paper, which also matches with this, which is the Crafter's Companion one. Right, coffee dyed paper on the back, lace applique on the front, dance with the fairies and talk to the moon. So lots of lace here, and applique, a little bit of glitter on this, tickets, etc. So that goes back inside there. Once again, I've edge punched with my fancy edge puncher. I've also done it on this side. And this is the absolute final page. This is the back cover. So, belly band and a pocket. So the belly band contains 3 blank tags for you to decorate yourself. That one's out of scrapbook paper, and these 2 are a very nice cream manila card. Again, I've used my tag die cutter because I really like the shape, and I think it gives a little bit of continuity as well. So that's those 3 there. Satin ribbon, lace, more lace, satin ribbon, and that's the handmade paper doubled and doubled. So this is like a fold over belly band, so that just undoes. Again, it's the napkin tissue where I have gone over with the texture paste for the, so you can really see it and feel it. More lace there. A little paper flip again. Just some simple pieces of coffee dyed paper, so yet more journaling space for you. So that will just tuck inside there, like so. Don't want to squish my bow. Folds over, and then that will just wind around there and tuck back in. So there you have it. That's it. And I hope you enjoyed looking at it. Thank you very much for watching. This is now in my Etsy store, along with the other journals that you've seen. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.